This is the Sunday Social with Johnny Brooks.
Yes, hello there. My name is Johnny Brooks, and you are listening to the Sunday Social on Mearns FM, which does, of course, mean it's 4 p.m. on your Sunday afternoon. And today, I've got an absolutely amazing show for you. I am joined by the magical Barry Thackeray, who, if you don't know, is a practical special effects producer and weapons coordinator for all kinds of different films. Say hello, Barry.
Hi there, guys. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm superb. Thanks for asking.
It's good to have you here today. So, I would like to ask you, Barry, for the benefit of our listeners who cannot see your face right now, where might we know you from?
I've worked on 4 feature films, Redwood Massacre Annihilation, Dark Highlands. I do short films and advertising as well.
Sure, and what kind of effects might you do in a film like that?
Gun flashes, blood, squibs, all sorts of magical stuff that you see on film, but all practical.
So not digital?
No, I don't do digital work at all.
Now, we've talked about this previously off air, but again, for the benefit of anyone listening, what's the big difference?
Well, digital effects, they're overlaid over the actual film that's being shot, whereas the practical effect is shot in camera.
See, that's something that confused me when I was learning about film production. When people said in-camera effects, what I always thought this meant, and I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this, was that it was some kind of effect preset, in the camera. So you go on the camera, you press a button, and it's got an in-camera effect, like I'm going to press this button and it's going to make magical rays appear. But it doesn't work like that. In-camera actually means it was filmed into the camera, but it really happened in the real world.
Exactly that, yeah. Whatever the lens sees is basically what goes into the camera, and that is a practical effect. That
is really cool. And if you haven't seen it already, Barry and I did make a short little promotional video for this episode in Barry's back garden of all places, demonstrating just one of the many practical effects that Barry can do. And, you could say he caught me off guard a little bit with that one.
Yes, well, you did plan it to be quite safe, and I thought, well, let's just surprise him and make things just a little bit more fun.
And it did make it more fun, and if you haven't seen it, it's on the Sunday Social Facebook page, so I urge you to go and take a look at that. It's a really funny, 20-second long video, and yes, you should go and have a look, because it's quite hysterical. So, in the meantime, I'm going to give you a little bit of music to get you started, but while that song is playing, I would like you to think about this, Barry. I would like you to think of an unpopular opinion, because on this show we like to ask our guests of what they like that everyone else doesn't like, or vice versa. So while the song's on, start having to think about it, and we've got all kinds of interesting topics to talk about today. We're going to give you, hopefully, some valuable advice on working in the film industry and getting work in the film industry, or just putting yourself out there, and making your mark. But also, we're going to have some fun conversations about films that already exist. We're going to analyze and, well, I won't say critique, but, we might discuss things that have been done by other directors and such like. And we're just going to have fun.
It's going to be fun, yes.
So with that in mind, here's a song that Barry requested. This is The Prodigy. This is something you won't hear often on Mearns FM, folks, but I am not complaining. This is a good song. This is The Prodigy with Omen. It's The Prodigy with Omen. That brings me back a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the Prodigy.
That always gets stuck in my head. And by always, I mean, I haven't heard that since I was about 14, and it's been stuck in my head for the last 8 years.
All right. Well, I listen to it constantly.
What's your favourite Prodigy song?
I like Roadblocks.
Roadblocks?
Yeah. There's no music video for it, so I see it in my head all the time.
What do you see as the music video for Roadblocks then?
Well, basically, as a filmmaker, you get nothing but roadblocks, and I just drive straight through roadblocks.
Obstacles.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like, all the hassle of business in filmmaking, so...
Just kind of get into what you actually like to do, what you're passionate about.
Exactly that, yes.
Sure. So while that song was on, you've hopefully been thinking about an unpopular opinion.
I'm afraid so, yes.
Now, I would like you to... We're going to have to prepare the audience for this, because we've had a couple of unpopular opinions on this show, such as things like Nickelback, Lewis Capaldi. All sorts of controversial things have been said, but this one really might ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, I don't mean to ruffle feathers, but I mean, he's a fantastic film director. He's probably one of the best, but it's Spielberg. Steven Spielberg.
Dun, 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 Steven Spielberg. Now, I would like you to elaborate on this, because you mentioned it to me a little bit. You've got some interesting sort of points that are worth, if you want to question this, you can go and watch these things back and see what Barry's talking about. So why don't you explain?
Well, it's not his direction. He's a fantastic director. It's the actual flaws in his film. I mean, most movies have got flaws, but there seems to be a heck of a lot of flaws in his movies that you might not see in the first viewing.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Jurassic Park, the gate scene when you're the very, very first bit of the film, there's a man lifting up the gate for the raptor right at the very start. Now, the guy that lifts the gate, he kind of gets knocked off and falls toward the camera.
Sure.
And guess what you see? You see the cameraman's hand out trying to protect...
stop himself from falling.
Trying to protect the camera lens, yeah. So you can actually freeze frame it and see the cameraman's hand.
That is quite literally breaking the fourth wall.
Indeed. And speaking of walls, if you look at the gate, at the opening gates, when it goes, welcome to Jurassic Park.
And it's to show you that this dinosaur is kept in a enclosure.
Yeah, the big enclosure actually ends, and you can see it in the shot. It's not surrounded. The actual fence stops.
The gate just stops, and you can see it in shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to say you're making a good argument for it. It's certainly better than last week. Edward was arguing that he didn't really like Lewis Capaldi.
Lewis is great.
Exactly. And my response to this was to play some of his music and tell him he's wrong.
And he probably has a point, but maybe it doesn't.
So what we're going to do next is play some equally good music for you. Now, when Barry mentioned that he would like to play a Prodigy song, it got me thinking of, kind of drum and bass and things I used to listen to when I was that kind of age. And it got me thinking of a band that you might have heard of them before. They're called Pendulum.
Yes.
Well, this is Pendulum with Witchcraft.
This is the Sunday Social with Johnny Brooks.
Minds FM.
And that was the wonderful Pendulum with Witchcraft.
Yeah, that's a great tune, actually. I haven't heard that for a while.
It's been at least, 30 minutes since I last heard that song, but that's because I listened to it just before we went on air. But prior to that, it's been probably a decade since I last heard that,
Yeah, it kind of sounds like the Prodigy too. Maybe, I think they did a remix for them or something.
I feel like that has to be right, and there's definitely a heavy influence there as well, I would say.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, speaking of influence, what I would like to know is, what first gave you your initial hook, your kind of inspiration, or just what got you interested, first of all, in film or special effects?
What got me captivated in film?
Yeah.
It would have to be Mary Poppins. As a kid at school, I must have been 6 or 7, and they showed a VHS tape. I saw this magical animatronic bird. It took me a long time to figure out how they did it, but the wonder of the mechanical bird, it was just so spectacular. I actually tried to make it in cardboard at home and failed miserably, but now I know how they did it. It's still wonderful.
That is very cool. It's slightly funny to me what you can't see through the radio is that I'm sitting here with a big grin on my face as Barry says this, because a few days ago we were in his garden with props from the Redwood Massacre Annihilation, firing fake movie blood out of this, mannequin torso and scaring me. And it's a bit of a funny leap, I think, to go from
Mary Poppins to
Mary Poppins to having fake blood flying everywhere out of a woman's sort of shirt was.
Well, the reason I like that is because of another movie I find as an inspiration was the FX movies with Brian Brown.
They're really cool.
Yeah.
You actually sent me the trailers for those recently because I hadn't seen them. And it's like, I can't remember when those were made, but they were...
I think 86.
Old school.
Yeah. Not old. Oh, yeah. It kind of shows my age, actually.
they were, for me, they're old. But the way they're made and the things they do in them are like, even by today's standards, really, really cool.
The concept of that film's amazing. I mean, it's a special effects guy. So that's kind of me, I guess. Yeah. So loads of squibs. It actually shows you how they do a lot of the magic. And that's, again, another reason what got me into film was exactly that.
Here's a funny question for you. I know the answer to this, but I'm asking it because I know that a lot of the guys listening right now will be thinking, why does he keep saying that funny word? What's a squib?
Oh, a squib is an explosive blood effect. They're electronically fired. Now, I don't have a license to fire electronically fired squibs with explosives in, so I use a gas propellant, which is ultimately
sort of pressurized air.
Exactly, yeah. It's ultimately safe. It's very, very safe compared with actually attaching an explosive to a human being.
Sure. Yeah, of course. And your job then must be a bit of a health and safety nightmare.
It's fun, I tell you.
Do you have to fill out a lot of paperwork?
Well, on Redwood Massacre, we had some incredible stunt people and it's safety officers and stuff. So
Right.
it was completely safe and fantastic to work on.
You've kind of got other guys to help you with that side of things then.
Of course, I was on as assistant on that one. Mr. Fresnock himself was the lead special effects guy. So
Sure.
yeah.
The special effects in Redwood Massacre are really, really cool. And
I blame David for that. David Keith, he did the digital overlay effects, and he's the master.
so if you are into that kind of thing, it's a total slasher film, you know, kind of a bit of an homage to the old school slashers.
Very 80s style. It's an awesome film, but it has comedy as well.
Yeah. So if you're into that, we suggest you go and check it out. It's obviously for over 18s only.
I'd rate it 30 because it's so awesome.
It's definitely not child friendly, and it's not even PG or anything like that. So
Nowhere
don't go
near.
watch it unless you're a fully grown adult who is happy to see some, you know, slasher horror type films, which are, if that's the kind of thing you're into, it's epic.
Yeah, there is a Green Band trailer that you could watch. That's definitely a lot safer to watch than
Sure.
the Red Band trailer. The Red Band trailer's got a few swears in.
Right. So we're going to give you another song now. I want to see if you remember this. I was just thinking about kind of music from a little while ago, I guess you could say, that I quite enjoy. And this is one that always stands out to me because as you're about to find out, unfortunately, the audience won't hear this, but you will. I like to sing along to this one.
Oh, dear God.
This is Fleetwood Mac with Landslide. Oh, isn't that just magical? Bit of Fleetwood Mac there with Landslide.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that sort of stuff.
What you can't see at home right now is my face.
I'm sorry.
My very unhappy face.
It's beyond my time sort of thing, you know?
It's beyond my time.
Yeah, well, it's just... I'm Prodigy and kind of industrial music.
Right, okay. I guess I'll let you off then. So, what I would like to ask you next, we're going to talk about favourites.
Oh,
We're going to talk about things we really like.
okay.
So I would like to know, you can pick whether you'd like to tell me 2 of your favourite films
Okay.
or 2 of your favourite actors. And bonus points if you can name anything that's Scottish.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, Brian Cox is a fantastic actor. A local actor called Lisa Cameron. She's fantastic. She's been in so many things. She's also in Redwood Massacre, Annihilation, and the original Redwood Massacre. Brian Cox, everyone knows. And I'm not...
Scientist.
No, not the scientist. No, the fantastic actor from Dundee. He's been in Super Troopers. He's been in some X-Men movies.
Yeah,
and
William Stryker in X-Men, I believe.
yes, and he's also the narrator in our movie Dark Highlands.
Yeah, I've heard about this one. It's a very, it's quite a chilling story, and I don't think it's actually. I don't even think we're allowed to describe it because it's probably not right for the show. But
No,
it's if you're into dark psychological thriller / horror,
Yeah.
look up Dark Islands. It's made here in Scotland by the wonderful
Mark Sturton and Michael G. Clark.
and it's really something special.
It's something special.
Now, speaking of something special, I've got a bit of special news for anyone listening. So, we've got the Redwood Massacre Annihilation release date.
We certainly do, yes. It's on the 20th of October.
I wish I had more sound effects so that I could. That was quite good, actually.
Thank you.
So, yes, 20th of October for the wonderful Redwood Massacre. It's going to be available on all mainstream streaming platforms
Yes.
and on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray especially, yes. It will be worldwide, so you can absolutely download it and watch it and sit in your own home and enjoy it, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
And I am going to be writing and releasing a review. So we're recording this, on the 13th of September.
Oh, you're getting a review?
Yeah, we're going to...
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So stay tuned if you're interested to know what I think.
I'm gonna read your review.
I'm going to write a detailed review of the film pretty much about a month before it comes out, so we can give you plenty of advice on whether or not to watch it. And obviously, I think you're going to want to watch it because it looks incredible.
Well, it does have Danielle Harris, who's the big scream queen of horror.
Yes, she'd been in loads. Sorry, I stuttered my words there because this excited me so much because I'm a huge Tarantino fan. She was even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's correct. She plays Angel.
They're also based on real people.
Well, the lead characters are fake because
Yes.
Tarantino, as you always know, the master, he steals from people's stories, but he likes to change history as well.
Well, that's exactly what he did with that film, and for me, that's one of the best films I've ever seen ever.
Exactly, yeah. It's just so magical. I've watched that about 8 times in the last couple of 3-4 months.
I'm just laughing as Barry says that because I'm like, yeah, that's a really good film, and I'm just remembering when I visited Barry's man cave with all kinds of cool movie props and scary blood flying everywhere. He actually showed me, if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there's a bit where Brad Pitt, I can't remember the name of the character he plays. It's
he's a stunt
double.
man. Yeah,
Cliff
Cliff Booth, I think is called.
Cliff something.
Cliff Booth.
So yes, he has a dog, and he's trained his dog to kind of be responsive to him clicking, and the dog patiently waits for his food. He stands in front of the bowl. The food drops into the bowl in quite an unsavory manner, actually. But then Brad Pitt clicks his tongue, and without question, the dog then starts eating, and it does not do so beforehand. Now, I thought that's quite a good bit of cinema. I wonder how they made a dog do that. When I was at Barry's house yesterday, he's got a miniature schnauzer.
He's called Biggles.
And Biggles he's a very clever dog, is Biggles.
I'm training him to be a movie dog.
Well, you're doing quite well because Barry showed me that Biggles can actually do all of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood dog tricks.
Exactly, yes.
And it is a bit funny seeing, in the film, if you haven't seen it, Brad Pitt it's some kind of big pit bull, a big kind of quite a vicious dog. And I think I'm not saying that about pit bulls. I'm saying that based on what this dog does towards the, final act of the film. It's a scary dog with some of the powerful things it does. This miniature schnauzer Biggles, on the other hand, he's not so intimidating. So it's quite funny to see him do the same things.
Yeah, he's such a cute little dog, and amazing to see him do some nasty kind of stuff.
It's really funny, and it's very surreal as well. And on the original topic that we were speaking about, the Redwood Massacre Annihilation film, we've actually got some very exciting news.
We do, yeah. I've got a giveaway for you.
We've got a really exciting giveaway for one of you listening. If you haven't seen it already on the Sunday Social Facebook page, we've been given a screen-used prop from the Redwood Massacre
Annihilation.
Yes. And it's actually... Well, why don't you describe what the prop is, first of all?
Well, it's a book that you see in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, you can see the book on a table. It's called The Redwood Massacre, and it's got John Campling, who plays... he's in a Harry Potter movie. He's in lots of great stuff. He actually plays a king in one of the Final Fantasy movies.
Really?
Games, sorry. Well, anyway, it's got him on the cover, and it's just a nice little giveaway for your nice listeners.
What is the point of the book in the film?
I really can't explain that. You'll
We're
have
not
to
allowed to
watch.
say that.
You'll have to watch the movie.
It's all I'm going to say is it's very pivotal.
It certainly is. Yeah.
And so in actual fact, this is not just a random book, as you might think. It's not just a book that's sitting around. The book, without giving any more away, is a huge plot point.
It is. Yeah. It's the kicker of the film. So you'll have to watch that.
Exactly. And so if you can win this book, you are, in possession of sort of the reason that a lot of things happen.
Yeah, it's a special prop.
So, on that note, we're giving away this book from Redwood Massacre Annihilation to one of you. All you have to do to enter is go to our Facebook page. That's the Sunday Social Facebook page. It's also, I think, if you type in @SundaySocialRadio, you can find it. Or if you just look for the Sunday Social, you'll know when you've got it because there will be videos of us doing silly things in the garden.
Yes.
There will be a post, a picture of the book, and all you have to do to enter is comment your favorite movie special effect ever.
Yeah. Practical, digital, anything like that.
And Barry and I together will decide which we think is the best.
Exactly. That sounds fair.
And the best vote from one of you guys, and this is not just, which one do we think was like the most obvious. If you come up with something that we didn't think of as really good, or something that's really underrated, or just something that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, all you have to do is comment your favorite special effect you've ever seen. Even if will we allow TV shows? I think we should.
I don't watch TV.
I think, as a practical effects guy, let's just say any effect you've seen.
Any effect that I would be impressed with, yes.
Sure.
Which is pretty much any effect.
Tell us what it's in and what they did, and we will pick our favorite one, and you will win this book from the film.
Exactly, yeah.
That's all there is to it. There's no strings attached.
None at all.
And with that, we're going to go back to another bit of music. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds fantastic. Let's do it.
And this is a bit of a funny one. I'm just messing with you at this point. This is a song by... Do you know JoJo?
No, I do not know JoJo.
Well, you're about to know JoJo. This is JoJo with Leave/Get Out.
This is the Sunday Social with Johnny Brooks.
Hello again, Barry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good.
How's the listeners?
I hope the listeners are good, and you can let us know if you're good. You can let us know what you think of the show. You can let us know what you think of us if you even feel the need to do so by emailing Johnny, that's JOHNNY, @murrinsfm.org.uk, or you can write to us directly at the Sunday Social Facebook page, which again is Sunday Social Radio or Sunday Social. If you look it up on Facebook, you can PM us, you can send us your band's music and we'll play it on the radio for you. You can request songs, you can ask us questions, and you can tell us that you don't like us very much if that's how you feel.
Don't complain about me, though.
Yeah, don't complain about Barry.
Because I know that I'm,
So, what I would like to ask you then, Barry, is how, first of all, did you get your big break? How did you break into industry, and how did you get that door to open in the first place?
Well, I'll talk about my first movie, shall I, that I got invited onto.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, I watched a YouTube video movie that someone had bootlegged onto YouTube. Now, it's called One Day Removals. I watched it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It's locally filmed in Aberdeen. And I watched it, and at the end credits, I realized that the uploader was the actual director of the film.
So he'd actually bootlegged his own film.
Well, I believe so. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so I contacted him, and what to do actually is go onto YouTube and have a look at the comments, and you can actually still see my original comment, and that is
From 5 years ago.
exactly that. That is exactly how I got started.
And so, what would your advice be, for example, if any of the guys listening just now are interested in getting their break? And this is something as well, I was going to say big break, but I think what a lot of people don't quite get until they get it is that your break won't be big. it will probably be very small.
Yeah, you have to build on that.
Yeah, you have to actually climb the ladder 9 times out of 10. Some people are very lucky or very talented or a bit of both, and they go straight to the top somehow. But for the majority of us, myself included and yourself included as well.
I'm a nobody by absolute mega standards. I am a nobody.
So what would your advice be to all of us other nobodies who would like to be somebodies? What would you tell them? What would you say is the best way to make a name for yourself and to actually just get that initial work?
To get the foot through the door?
Yes.
Right. Well, network absolutely is the key. Go on social media, search for people who are needing help. I mean, also, everybody wants to be a director, but there's so many jobs that you can start from. Maybe be an extra, be a runner. That's pretty much the lowest of the low, and then work your way up slowly to become that huge Spielbergian director.
And then eventually Barry and I will sit on this show and talk about how their unpopular opinion is that they don't like your work, but you won't care at all because everyone else will, and you'll have made plenty of money in the meantime.
Yeah, lots of heartbreaks along the way, by the way.
And you should almost be ready, be prepared for both failure and rejection, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Have you encountered that in your own professional career?
Oh, there's always a lot of challenges. I mean, I haven't really got there yet, so I can't really comment. But there's so many ways you can fail. But once, you get the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
And you sort of learn to balance them out with each other.
You have to be very thick-skinned.
For sure. Even I would say the same thing. Any creative industry, if you're looking to put yourself out there as an artist, a performer, anything, putting yourself out there for publicity and for good reactions also makes you vulnerable and susceptible to the opposite.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of flack, and
yes.
I'm sure I'll get some flack for this radio show.
No, I'm sure you won't. I think you're doing great.
Thank you very much.
So you mentioned to me that there's also a big difference in what skill sets are being looked for by, casting directors and whatever else, whether it be practical skills or other types of skills. So you mentioned runner work and extra work.
Yeah, extra work's probably a good start.
Could you explain what both of those are for anyone that might not know?
Well, a runner is a person that is basically doing just that. They're running about doing the odd jobs around the place, but that way you will be noticed and you'll probably get called back. An extra is basically someone that stands in the background of a film. They're a non-speaking, they're a non-principal actor. But then maybe someone sees something and says, hey, you have this certain look, I want you at the front, and you get seen. And then maybe there'll be somewhere else down the line where they say, oh, you've got a good voice, let's have you speaking. And then you're off. And
attitude, I think, is also a big factor, whether you're an extra, a runner, anything else.
Yeah, you have to be positive. You have to be multi-talented. Is on a sub-level is definitely a key thing in filmmaking. You need to be fast-thinking and calm and just very
level-headed.
Exactly that. Yeah.
And you mentioned that sort of there are different approaches to learning about this stuff. Whether if you're trying to get your qualifications, if you're trying to build up experience, you mentioned that there's sort of a multi-prong approach to doing that.
Yeah, well, I haven't really got a business side because I didn't go to film school. Now, you go to film school and you learn the entire business side of it more. I am practically trained myself by watching movies. I mean, I'm the biggest film geek on earth. You ask me any questions about movies and I'll be like, oh, I watched this film and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, definitely if you're sat home now, you watch a film, you study it, that is my film school.
Sure. And you said to me earlier that kind of if you want to get practical experience, you might go through something like, filmmaking and doing it yourself, and kind of you get your friends together, you have a camcorder and you do it.
Yeah, a camcorder. You can make a short film on a mobile phone. I mean, as a training exercise right now, grab a pen and paper, write down something on a little piece of paper, a script, very basic, and just film it and watch yourself back. It's great fun.
Sure. And if any of you guys take us up on this, if you want to go and make anything, if you make a little video with your mobile phone or anything, send it in to us at johnny@mearnsfm.org.uk or on our Sunday Social Facebook page. And if you send us something that's really good, we will put it out to the rest of the audience to see.
It has to be pretty PC though.
Yes, nothing offensive and inappropriate, please. But if you make something and it's all right, then do send it to us and we'll put it out there, and we will stick to that if you do it.
That sounds like a great idea.
It could also be a terrible idea, but we'll find out when it happens, of course.
Of course.
So coming up next, we're going to give you the weather.
Brooks.
Minds FM.
Welcome back to the Sunday Social.
Hello, everyone.
What I would like to remind you, if you're just joining us now, is we've got a couple of really exciting things going on that you can take part in. Interactive content, you could say. So number one is we've in the space of this show had a great idea, which is that if you can make a film, it can be anything. We don't mean like a 1 hour long, feature-length film.
Just a small page script. You write a small script. And
If you make a short film, it could be anything from 30 seconds to 5 minutes to whatever. If you make a film using just your phone, your imagination, you can use props, whatever you want. But if you film it on a phone, as long as it's sort of audience friendly, not offensive, and not kind of inappropriate, we will put it out there.
Yeah.
And if multiple of you do it, we'll find a favorite.
yeah, maybe even do a special effect.
Yes, if you could make your own practical effect, that would be really, really cool.
I'd be very impressed. I'd love to see that.
So if any of you want to make anything, it could be a music video, it could be you guys singing together, it could be something non-musical, it could be a piece of acting filmed on a phone, or as Barry has suggested, a special effect. If you can make your own special effect and show us it, please, please, please do. You can send those into Johnny, that's JOHNNY, at mearnsfm.org.uk, or you can send stuff right into our Facebook page, which is, well, it's called Sunday Social, or if you're searching for it, I think you type in at Sunday Social Radio. That's all one word. The second thing I'd like to remind you of, which is even cooler, is that we have a screen-used movie prop to give away.
Yes, it's the Redwood Massacre book.
Now it sounds confusing. It's the Redwood Massacre book that was used in Redwood Massacre 2 brackets Annihilation.
Redwood Massacre Annihilation. That's the actual title now. It's not number 2. Yes, it's actually the story of the first film that's a key pivotal thing in the second one.
It's really important.
It certainly is, yeah.
The book is, again, we won't spoil the film, but the book is arguably the trigger of the entire film.
It is the kicker for the film.
And so if you give us your best entry to this, you could be the keeper, the owner of the most important thing in that entire film. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a wonderful giveaway.
Yes. So if you would like to enter our giveaway, all you have to do is go to the Sunday Social Facebook page, find our post. You will find it very easily. It's just a picture of the book. It's very easily identifiable because it's quite an unusual looking book.
It is. It's just a cover, but it's not an actual book itself. It's just a cover on a book.
Yes. The content inside is I tried reading some of it, and it was I was very disappointed when I found that it was not, in fact, a history of what happened in the Redwood Massacre. But anyway, if you'd like to win this screen-used prop and this really, really important piece of what might turn out to be, cinema history.
Well, it has got Daniel Harris and some amazing actors in it.
If you would like to win that, all you have to do is comment on the post, the one that's got the book on it, your favorite special effect from anything you've seen, whether it's, TV, film, even if it's some kind of online thing, an internet video, a special effect. Tell us what they did and what it was in, what they accomplished with the effect.
I'd prefer practical effects, but
Barry is biased.
I love practical effects.
And as it happens, I'm a big fan of digital. Because Barry works as, practical effects guy, and I do a lot of editing, we're opposite ends of the spectrum, which is exactly why we'll come to a joint decision so that it's fair on our favorite one. Our favorite entry, you will get the book. It is as simple as that.
That sounds great.
So we're going to play a little bit more music for you now. And that was the wonderful Becky Hill and Sigala with Heaven on My Mind.
Ooh.
Now I've got something else on my mind, Barry.
Oh, what's that?
I would like to ask you a question, but I need you to be ready because it's a bit of a spooky question.
Okay.
But we need to set the atmosphere. That's more like it. So what I would like to ask you, Barry, is when you're making a scary film, you know, you've got some kind of horror films and things that make your spine tingle a little bit in your repertoire.
Yes.
When you make a scary film, is it as scary through your actual eyes, through your perception, as it is when you see the finished product through a screen, you know, in the cinema or on your telly?
Well, you've got actors right there, and yeah, it can be incredibly scary. For instance, on The Dark Within, I had a few things happen on set. We were in the darkness in the woods, and we had this huge creature effect it was like a full body suit.
Okay.
So an actual thing right there in front of you.
What did it look like, this creature?
Well, you're going to have to watch The Dark Within. It's another David Keith movie, but basically it's a creature that's kind of manly looking. It's just a full body suit of rubber and latex. It cost thousands to make this thing.
Okay.
And
it's quite scary looking.
well, yeah, it's basically a skeleton
Okay.
with gore.
Yeah.
And we were in the woods filming at night, and the actor inside took every opportunity to jump out.
Oh, and jump scare you.
Yeah, and basically this thing looks so scary and realistic, and you're up close to it, and it's
It's
moving.
in your personal space as well, which
Yeah.
is not something you really get from when you watch something on the telly. It's not there in the room with you.
Exactly, but I'm scared of real scary movies anyway. I don't like scary movies.
That is so funny to me because you're really good at making them.
Thank you. Well, it's not me that makes these scary movies. It's
Well, you do a lot towards it.
Well, thank you. I do try.
And I'd like to ask you, when you're making these scary movies, when you're working on these scary movies, if you'd rather I put it that way,
Was that a boat?
what's the most challenging
All I know
part?
is
What
that they
have been your
managed
biggest
to leave.
challenges when you're making a film or working on a film? What's been the toughest hurdles you've had to overcome so far?
Oh, there's always there's always hurdles and obstacles. Like I said before, there's lots of roadblocks, and you have to drive through it. You have to be quick to react to things very, very quickly. Like, for instance, I had to make a prop foam gun for Danielle Harris's character.
Yeah.
Where she's having a fight with somebody, and they were going to use the actual weapon in her hand to hit this person with.
Sure.
But, you know...
That could do some serious damage even if you accidentally just made any contact at all. You could really hurt a person's face, or potentially worse.
Exactly that. You never really want an actor to have anything dangerous in their hands, because if it's going to happen, it will.
Yeah. If it could happen, it's going to happen.
Exactly. So we had 30 minutes to... and I made a copy of a handgun that she uses to strike this person in foam. So in 10 minutes' time, I actually had this prop weapon. And the stunt actors were actually smacking each other over the head with it. And the rest of the cast had no idea this prop had been made. So they thought they were actually beating each other.
They thought they were doing it with a real thing.
Exactly, yeah. And it was really quite funny because I knew that it was made.
You were in on the joke.
Well, it wasn't really a joke. They were just like boing, boing, boing. So, yeah, there are challenges.
And so how do you utilize a foam prop, for example, when you've got, for example, like a firearm or something like that that's made out of foam? How do you utilize that in film so that so that it's not just obviously foam to the viewer?
Well, it's down to the cinematographer and the genius of the director and the editor. With a prop foam weapon hitting somebody, it's going to be moving very quickly, of course.
Sure.
So you don't actually see. Your brain tells you
see the shape, but not necessarily the detail.
Exactly. It's moving very fast, so you can get away with things like this.
Yeah. And perhaps you'd like to incorporate this advice into our brand new filmmaking challenge. If you'd like to take part, it's just for fun. If you'd like to send us something, you can. The only rule is make it on your phone. If you've got a phone, you can take part. You just make a video of anything, whether it's a special effect or something musical or something dramatic, some acting or anything at all. As long as it's politically correct and appropriate and not offensive, we will put it out on social media and everything, and we'll have a good laugh watching it together, I'm sure, as well. I'm going to give you another tune, Barry.
Okay, what's that?
I want to know what you think of this one. I don't think you'll have heard it before, but this is a band I absolutely love from the UK. They're called Don Broco.
Never heard of them, I'm
This
afraid.
is Super Love. And now you know who Don Broco are.
Yeah, that's a fantastic track.
Really good, right?
Yeah, very powerful.
I'd like to ask you another question.
Okay, shoot.
So this is going to be a bit of a hypothetical for you, right? Let's say I'm an actor. Or
You're an actor.
yes, I'm an actor. I'm acting as an actor. Let's say I'm an actor and I'm trying to get into an audition or a casting. You know, I'm trying to become a part of a team. What would your advice be to me as someone who's in that position, just looking to get in and make the right impression?
Well, I think be yourself. Practice in the mirror. Learn your lines and put yourself in the situation of the actual person that you're going to be portraying. Say, for instance, I don't know, you're going shopping and you need to get something from a shelf. So you're reaching out and you're like looking about, wondering, you know, where is it? But so you need to kind of portray that person really well. So definitely talk to yourself in the mirror, maybe record it, and then on
Watch
you go.
it back and kind of critique yourself.
Yeah, I'm as a non-actor, I really can't really give you any advice on that.
Sure.
But what I see is people that aren't really portraying that role.
Yeah. And we briefly touched on this earlier, but what would you say is the most important thing attitude-wise?
An absolute positive attitude. You need to just absolutely be yourself. If you're casting maybe someone, I would look for someone close to character naturally, and I wouldn't really go casting friends for friendship sort of reasons.
Yeah, you want the right person rather than just someone who you kind of know.
Yeah, exactly that.
And who are some of the best actors that you've actually worked with, would you say?
Oh, I'm amazed by Lisa Cameron, Ronan Doyle, Alec Westwood, Steve Hay. They're all local actors. They're Scottish. Just absolute brilliant people.
Yeah, we actually had Alec on the Sunday Social a few weeks ago, I believe. Well,
Yeah.
I don't believe, I know we did.
Yeah,
It was very fun.
I listened in. I was amazed. It was a good show.
He's a good guy. And coming up next, I've got a brilliant song for you. And it's a little bit relevant, I guess you could say. You got any guesses about what it is?
I couldn't possibly.
Now, that evil laugh, Barry, is representative of how I'm feeling. I feel a little bit mischievous because...
Yes, I'm not an actor.
Yeah, and I deliberately asked Barry a question about, you know, advice on acting, just to play devil's advocate and see what he could come up with. Now, it was funny, but to make it up to Barry, we're going to play a request of his. So if you'd like to introduce it.
Yeah, sure. It's Colin Klein. Colin Klein is an Aberdonian singer-songwriter. Fantastic vocals, brilliant sound.
And what sort of style would you say he is?
Country. He sounds American, but it's an amazing song. It's called Where the Ships Go to Die.
And that was the wonderful Colin Klein with Where the Ships Go to Die.
Yeah, brilliant voice, eh?
That is really cool. It's not the kind of thing I normally listen to, but undeniable quality in his voice and the music itself.
Yeah, that was my pick.
Mm-hmm. And he's from Aberdeen, you said?
He is, yeah. I'll be working with him very, very soon.
Making a music video?
Absolutely.
Oh, very cool. Keep an eye out for that then. What's the name of the song you're doing a music video for?
Well, we're doing two, I think.
Okay.
So hopefully this one and another one called Good Guys.
We might give those a share on the Sunday Social page, and if anyone's interested in checking them out.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the Sunday Social page, we are doing a really exciting giveaway of a screen-used prop from Redwood Massacre Annihilation. If you would like to make that book yours, all you need to do is go on the Facebook page for Sunday Social. It's Sunday Social Radio or Sunday Social, whatever you type in to find it. You will see a post. It is a picture of the book. Comment on the post telling us what your favourite special effect is from anything ever.
Yes.
practical or digital?
Preferably practical because I love practicals.
And whatever you like, tell us what it accomplished, what they made it look like happened, and what it was in, the film, TV, whatever. And we will collectively pick a favorite, and you will get this prop from the film. That is it. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Now, here's a question for you, Barry.
Okay, I'm ready.
What have you got? Any funny quirks or sort of fun facts about yourself?
Yes, I've got a title, which I bought. And also another thing that people are absolutely gobsmacked at is I do not have a mobile phone. I've not had one since 2001.
Okay, so let's backtrack for a moment.
Yeah.
What title did you buy?
I bought a lordship title, and it's on my bank card and everything.
So you are, in fact, Lord Barry Thackeray.
Of Upper Larkin.
Wow. Where's Upper Larkin?
It's in Inverness.
Is it?
Yeah, where I'm from.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And no mobile phone. Oh, well, so you're a lord with no phone.
Exactly.
That sounds like a good film. So no mobile phone then. Do you have like a landline?
Yeah, as a filmmaker, you'd think, how do I contact this guy? But believe it or not, on set you can't have a phone anyway.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, of course.
The phone ringing, or you're maybe filming stuff and taking photographs. That's completely strictly bound on set and location. I just don't have a mobile phone, but you can. I do all my contact and networking purely online, maybe Facebook or email.
And what would you say then to the guys who maybe want to do a bit of Facebook networking? The whole world of Facebook is out there. So where should they focus? Particularly, obviously, we're in the area of Aberdeen and so on. Where should these guys be looking?
Well, Facebook is absolutely amazing for networking. You can contact people, but I would not in any way go and do that. I would join a Facebook group, maybe an actors group or a local filmmakers group, be it locally or in Scotland. There's loads.
And find, basically what I think you're saying is find opportunities where someone's looking for work.
Yeah, don't impose yourself on somebody by asking questions, because that is one thing that puts people off. You can offer help on maybe someone posting a question like, I'm looking for an extra for this music video, or something like that. Yeah,
but kind of pushing yourself in there, or even just kind of the equivalent of cold calling someone, hi, this is me and I'm really important.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, it's an easy way to get the door closed rather than opened.
Yeah, but put yourself forward as if an opportunity's put there.
Sure.
It's surprisingly easy that you'll find a good response.
Mm-hmm. And likewise, if you'd like a fun opportunity, we'll remind you one more time, if you want to make a video of your own using a mobile phone, submit it to us. That's either by email at Johnny, JOHNNY, at mearnsfm.org.uk, or you can send it to our Facebook page, Sunday Social Radio. Either is fine, and all we ask is that you demonstrate anything. It could be acting, musical skill, special effects, practical effects, anything, even if it's editing. The only rule is you've got to film it with your phone, and it has to be politically correct and sort of audience appropriate, radio friendly.
Yeah, just something simple. You could sing to the camera. You can just act out your favourite scene in a movie, maybe.
Exactly. And coming up on the Sunday Social, we've got some even more incredible guests. Just like Barry, we've got absolutely... It's really strange. We've got everything from pro sports people to... We've got Joey Black from the Bring Me the Horizon team coming on shortly.
Oh, wow.
We've got Paul Laurie, the golfer.
Yeah, crikey.
It's going to be a very interesting time here on the Sunday Social, so stay tuned. If you're enjoying the show, or if you hate it, give me an email or a message and let me know. All feedback is good feedback. And be sure to tune in again this time next week, because we're now coming up on about 5:30, I believe.
Is it really?
So we've only got about half an hour left to go with you. We're going to give you a song just to keep things rolling. This is One Kiss by Calvin Harris, who's Scottish, by the way.
Indeed.
And Dua Lipa.
This is the Sunday Social with Johnny Brooks.
Mearns FM.
And that was, as I rightly pointed out, the Scottish Calvin Harris and the wonderful Dua Lipa.
That was a great tune. Love
Now-
that. Really good.
I love it too. On the topic of Scottish, we often ask people this when they come on the show. Do you have a favourite, Scottish artist or band or anything like that?
I being someone who works with bands all the time making music videos, I couldn't really be biased, but I do like Franz Ferdinand.
Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah,
That is
going way back.
that's a belter for me to say so myself. My favourite song by Franz Ferdinand is actually the legendary Cannot Get Enough of That. The late, great, and just wonderful Amy Winehouse. What a voice.
Yeah, 1 in a million.
Gone way too early. There are plenty of musicians I wish were still here to make music, but she is high up on that list. I would love to hear more of her music.
Yeah, me too. It's a shame she's gone.
Very much so. So we've got about 10 minutes left on the show, which is really sad. Very
Yeah.
sad indeed.
I've had fun. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to hear it.
Thanks.
And what I would like to ask you then, Barry,
Sure.
is what's next for you? What are you excited about for the future? What are you looking forward to doing, and how are you going to do it with the current state of the world? What's going on?
Well, it's a huge, huge challenge. A lot of things have been stopped. We've been on hold for a year on a film called Blood Curse, which we're going to be filming in the Mediterranean.
Wow. Okay.
We were supposed to have the film out by now, by filming it in the start of last year. The start of this year.
Right.
But it got canned, and quite sensibly, we're filming in October next year now.
Right. Okay. And is that going to be yet another scary film?
Yes.
It's funny. Do you think your work is just really suited to that style of film?
Well, the thing is, I hate scary movies, but I guess I
You're just good at it.
well, a lot of movies are kind of scary. I guess they're they're filmed here, so we do them. But this next one it should be in the Mediterranean, like I said.
Wow. And that is quite unusual because I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, Scotland's got a real culture of kind of eerie movie and TV sets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everything from, I think, The Woman in Black, I think they filmed a bit of that here.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like I remember reading about that. If I'm wrong, I apologise, but I'm pretty sure. And there's always, from the vast woodlands to the kind of eerie castles and
Well,
old towns, everything.
it must be just the epic locations. I mean, Scotland has so many great locations that lead themselves to being a horror,
Yeah.
or set in a certain time.
What have been your favourite locations that you've ever worked on?
Oh, it's probably going to be in the woods in Dunnottar.
Dunnottar Woods. Do you know, funnily enough, that is about 2 minutes away from our Mearns FM studio.
Well, there you go. And we filmed in a bunker, which was fantastic. But I think Aberdeen's got so many great locations in and around the area.
Sure.
You can film anything.
You can do a lot here for sure. And it's very
Yeah.
versatile because, for example, you've got Stonehaven, you've got old school houses, then you've got slightly more modern areas,
Indeed, yes.
then you've got woods, and then a minute away from that, you've got a beach, and it's quite, vast and varied.
Well, in Scotland in general, you could film anywhere in all over Scotland to make it look like
the
anywhere.
different continents.
I mean, Mark Sturton and Michael G. Clarke made a film called The Planet, and they filmed that on Belmedie Beach.
Really?
That is true,
I
yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's another fantastic film.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on the hour. So, unfortunately, it's time for me to say I'm really grateful for you for coming along, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
I'm
And-
sorry for ruining everybody's day.
No, you haven't done that at all. It's been really fun. And is there anything you'd like to say before you go?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Well, there you go. And if you can spell that, send it to us at johnny@mearnsfm.org.uk. That'll be just yet another interesting bit of listener interaction there for you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. And we're going to leave you with a little bit of music now just to see you off into the Sunday evening. Now, please bear in mind that, as we recently mentioned, Mearns FM won Best Community Radio Station in Scotland this year from CV Magazine.
That's just top. That's brilliant
It's
news.
really cool. And that is for a good reason. We've got some cracking shows on, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We've got amazing music. We've got fantastic presenters and some really enjoyable shows coming up, including the Sunday Social next week. So come back 4 p.m. next Sunday for the Sunday Social. And if you'd like to stay up to date on who's coming on, what we're going to do, and what we're going to talk about, you can find us on Sunday Social on Facebook, where we post all the updates and some exclusive online content there just for you. Here's some music, and thank you so much for listening. I've been Johnny Brooks, and it's been a really fun 2 hours.
And I'm Barry Thackeray.
Thanks, Barry. And I would like to ask you before we go if you have any shout-outs for anyone.
Yes, I'd like to shout out to the Redwood crew, David Ryan Keith, Lorraine Keith, and Liam Matheson. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you are awesome. And thank you for giving me the review copy of the film. And look out on the Sunday Social channel for the review of Redwood Massacre Annihilation.
Clear Focus Movies.
And if you would like to enter our little giveaway for the screen used prop, remember that you can do that on our Sunday Social Radio Facebook page. And we'll leave you with that. Here is some music just to ease you into dinner time, but stay tuned to Mearns FM because we've got more cracking content coming up. This is Out of Control by the Chaomatics.